There has been a lot of criticism for the final match from some of the former champions. What happens through one's mind when something big hits you like this?
At that moment, you're not a champion. You're just a person who's...
There's a new chess world champion, and he's the youngest ever. 18-year-old Gukesh defeated defending title holder Ding Liren from China at the World Championship in Singapore.
We have to begin with the biggest news in the world of chess right now, our own Gukesh becoming the youngest world chess champion.
Yeah, I could see in his face that he was very, very happy, but we couldn't hear a thing the other one said, and finally...
Your mother has played an instrumental role in making you a chess player.
I was, in a sense, lucky that my mother knew how to play chess.
You had the opportunity to meet Prime Minister Modi over the years. How has your experience been of meeting Mr. Modi? Did he surprise you with his understanding of chess?
शुरू करूं? ओके एक पर्सनल सवाल आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं, क्या आप सक्सेसफुल होना चाहते हो? ओके ठीक है, तो इसका एक बड़ा सिंपल हैक है, आपको रोज एक किताब पढ़नी। अच्छा नहीं हो पाता? ठीक है, मेरी भी यही हालत है, सेम टू सेम। अच्छा, एक दूसरा हैक देता हूं आपको, आप किताब मत पढ़ो, आप लोगों को पढ़ो और लोगों को घोल के पी जाओ, उनके लाइफ लेसन्स को समझ लो और उनको जीवन में उतार लो। क्या कहते हो? डील? ऑसम। वेलकम टू MyGov, माय नेम इज शरद एंड आपका स्वागत है टू द न्यू सीजन 2 ऑफ ग्रोथ ड्रीम्स एंड पैशन, GDP। एडिटर साहब, नया एपिसोड शुरू हुआ है, नया सीजन शुरू हुआ है, जरा ड्रामेटिक इफेक्ट के साथ लोगो शो को दिखाइए। अच्छा, इस शो में हम सेलिब्रिटीज, पब्लिक पर्सनालिटीज से मिलेंगे और उनकी लाइफ जर्नी को समझेंगे। और अब चूंकि माहौल बन चुका है, तो ड्रम रोल के साथ आज के हमारे इस एपिसोड के गेस्ट को इंट्रोड्यूस करते हैं, लेकिन थोड़े ऑस्कर स्टाइल में। ओके, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, टुडे ऑन GDP we will be featuring 5-time world chess champion and the recipient of Padma Vibhushan, the legendary Vishwanathan Anand.
Welcome to the podcast, Vishy. And we have to begin with the biggest news in the world of chess right now, our own Gukesh becoming the youngest world chess champion. It's a monumental moment for our nation. I would like to know that, did you get a chance to speak to him? How did the conversations go?
These things are always anticlimactic. So he called me just the post-game celebrations, everyone in the background, and he called me. I could see in his face that he was very, very happy. But we couldn't hear a thing the other one said, and finally he said, "Okay, when I come back, we'll meet and I'll tell you a lot of stories." I said, "Good, just be very happy," and we left it at that.
Fantastic. What happens through one's mind when something big hits you like this? What goes through a champion's mind? You've gone through that stage. So what happens at that moment?
At that moment, you're not a champion. You're just a person who's happy that you've achieved something, that something you've long sought has come your way, and you're just very, very happy. There's also some disbelief. I think everyone will have some disbelief. My God, this thing we dreamt of, it's finally happened. I can feel it.
Yeah. So, you've been a witness to the meteoric rise of Gukesh. As a mentor, you've had a ringside view to his life. When was that moment when you felt that this kid is special?
It was clear to me from the beginning that he was very talented. But, between talent and accomplishment, there's a lot of ifs and buts. Yeah. Looking back now, what amazes me is that he managed everything so fast. First cycle, he gets through all the qualifying stages, everything. And he's wins the candidate's first attempt. and then wins the world championship first attempt. And he's the youngest ever world champion in history. Was before that the youngest ever challenger in history. These kinds of things are pretty special. So, what can I credit? I think essentially the qualities were there. He
And what
always
were
had
those
the dedication. He had that focus, but it seems that he even had even more of it than we could realize.
Wow, amazing. After his world championship win, there has been a lot of criticism for the final match from some of the former champions about the game quality. So what's your perspective on this? And do you think such criticism is helpful for players to grow?
The thing is, we are drowning in information, and it's the same with criticism. Some of it is valid. Whatever resonates with you, you should act with them. I mean, you also agree with them. Then there's nothing to question. But these days, 90% of everything is clickbait.
Yeah, that's true.
And probably it's helpful to have a certain amount of skepticism and incredulity when you read anything. So, I mean, we live in a media environment. Everybody has to be sensational to be noticed. Unfortunately, it just comes with the territory.
Great. Talking about chess and talking about sports in India, we've been seeing increased support for sports in India, including chess. So how do you perceive the government's role in promoting chess, and has it had an impact on the growth of the game?
To some degree, yes. The government in general, I mean, I say some degree because the government policy was to steadily increase support of sport, and this has been going on for many years. You can see, and this is also mirrored in the attitude of the country. India nowadays is much more open to sports. It's much more open to sports people. Also, the first question is not, okay, but after this, what are you planning to study, or where are you planning to work? We recognize sport as a career and endeavor in itself. We enjoy following many, many more sports. We're more of a sporting nation. Yes. And the government has played a very big part in this, both in the budgetary allocations, of course, the awards, the support. These things help a lot. But also in the willingness to work with other people in sports, not duplicate efforts, but coordinate and work together. In general, it's true for chess, but also broadly for sports in India, that our attitude has never been this positive towards sports. On top of that, I would compliment the government, and especially the Prime Minister and most of the government, for meeting with people who have had success and, giving that a little bit of recognition. All these things also matter.
Does that mean a lot to sportsmen when they meet the Prime Minister or head of a state?
Yes, when you feel special. You feel that there's an acknowledgement by my country that they appreciate what I did, because after all, you're doing some sport. You don't know how many people, how they relate to it, and this is a symbol of what it means. That your achievement means a lot to them, but it's also something they can take back home, and everybody else is also impressed, and it gives them that
share with everyone,
feel good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Now let's talk a bit about your journey, Vishy. Your mother has played an instrumental role in making you a chess player. Can you take us back to those early memories and some anecdotes that are very close to your heart?
So I was, in a sense, lucky that my mother knew how to play chess, because 50 years ago, 45, let's say, there was no way to refer or look up stuff as easily as today. Yeah. The environment is different. You had to go to maybe that one library or a couple of libraries where maybe you could find the rules of chess or something. So typically in those days, a family member was the person who taught you how to play chess.
That's true.
In many cases, fathers. In my case, my mother. So I was lucky that she knew how to play chess. But then my parents were incredibly supportive. They were understanding, even though they might have felt that this chess is taking up a lot of time, they must have the usual doubts of parents. But they understood it meant a lot to me, and they decided to give me as much rope as I wanted, go for it. And that's very helpful, because nothing discourages you, like the feeling that your family isn't fully with you.
Yeah.
So that's important. But my mother was very, very, she was really in touch with everything. She would accompany me to many, many tournaments. She would when I joined my first chess club, she came along, made sure everything's okay, put me in the chess club because she knew I'd be coming often, things like that. And I'll give you one story. My father went for an Asian Development Bank project in Singapore.
It was with
in
railways.
Manila in the Philippines.
Mm.
And he, we had to live for 1 year in the Philippines.
Okay.
Which means we had to recreate kind of what my interest and all. But I remember my mother, the moment we landed after a few days, we went, I could join some tennis programs again so that I could get back to my tennis, and I could also rejoin my chess. And on top of that, the Philippines then was kind of booming in chess.
Mhm.
So they had this daily TV show where they would show a game played in some corner of the world.
Okay.
Again, remember that transmission of information wasn't instantaneous in those days. So this was a big deal.
Yeah.
You got to see a game from some part of the world, and they would explain to you some of the mysteries of it. And at the end, they would always have a puzzle. They would give a puzzle for the viewers to solve.
Okay.
The viewers would send in their entries. They would look at every entry, take all the correct ones, put them in a box, and then randomly pick one winner. And that winner would be invited to the next show,
To the studios.
to the studios, and you could take a chess book as a gift.
Oh, okay.
So very, very nice thing. But I was in school when this program was happening. It was happening in the mid-afternoon, like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
How old were you?
I was 6, 7,
Okay.
8. And so when I came back from school, I found that my mother had watched the program, recorded everything, all the moves,
Okay.
and recorded the puzzle. So we would play through the game. She'd show me, this is the game, this is what he said about here, here, here. Then we would solve the puzzle together and then send off the entry.
Okay.
So we did this for a while. Eventually, you get picked a few times. So you go once to the studio, go a second time thing. And then they understood I was not only a regular at watching the shows, regular at winning the prizes. And famously, they told me, it'd be better if you didn't try to solve too many more because people think you're the only one.
You're the only viewer.
But please, since you won so many, please come to our library and help yourself. Take, 20 books and go.
Oh, wow.
So, like a kid in the candy store, I pulled out all these books, and still, I remember I have many of them still.
Oh, really?
These are old chess books. They were fantastic in information 40 years ago.
Wow.
And I look back with a lot of pleasure at these books. I learned a lot from them. And so it's a nice story, but it also tells you, my mother was doing all these other things, but she would still block an hour to watch the show and make sure that I didn't miss anything. So she was probably the single reason that I got into chess.
Wow.
and everything. And my dad was very supportive, very helpful, but he was not a chess player.
Mm-hmm.
I remember once he came to a tournament because my mother couldn't come, so he
Okay.
was deputed. But he was nervous as to what he,
And no clue.
what should he, how do you motivate me? What should he say? What would I react well to, badly to? And so my mother gave him some tips. Somehow he managed, and that was my second national championship, so he didn't do too badly.
Yeah, absolutely. Another person who's become iconic is Gukesh's father, and I think Gukesh's father has played a big role in his upbringing. And apparently, I was researching that again, like your father, his knowledge of chess is limited. So, so his advice or tip to Gukesh is that play your pieces well. And that's what I heard. So, how's his relationship? You've got an opportunity to meet him.
Yes, with both Gukesh's parents, and you can say this in general. Over the years, I have come to see that Indian parents are willing to go that extra mile. Of course, nothing remarkable of this. Parents all over the world do this, but it's beautiful to see parents supporting their kids like this. And in Gukesh's father's case, he has put his own medical career on ice. He does a bit here part-time, but he's more or less, they went all in on this. They just said, we're going to support. And Gukesh's dad was traveling everywhere with him to make it as easy for him. And
Wow.
fantastic.
Absolutely. This nickname, the Lightning Kid, How did it stick to you? How did it happen?
So there was a person in the club called Kameshwaran. One of these people who set up the chess club, Tal Chess Club, and did a lot of work organizing tournaments, making sure the early stage, these are the dedicated fans who make things happen and so on. Anyway, he once had to write something for a newspaper, and he decided to coin a nickname for me. And because I was playing very, very fast always, he thought Lightning Kid was nice. And that name kind of stuck.
Are you also quick with making life decisions? Does that also translate into your life?
I'm quite impulsive. And let's say my chess decisions have a higher success rate.
Great. Super. In your professional chess journey, Vishy, what are the toughest challenges that you faced? And, moments where you must have thought of giving up and then you overcame it. Any such memories or anecdotes?
I was very lucky in a sense. I mean, what are the moments that you might question your decision? You would do it in the 10th standard exams.
Yeah.
10th standard, another moment when you suddenly think, should I do this? 12th standard. And then when you finish university. I was kind of lucky that at the moments when you might hesitate the most, in 10th, I became national champion for the first time. When I finished my +2, I had become a grandmaster. And when I finished my BCom, I was in the top 10. So kind of, no, I never got to the stage where I felt I should quit or something. There were setbacks and moments of doubt, but when I was young, the question of stopping never even once occurred to me. It seemed like, yes, but of course we have to go on. Later in life, quite often I would think, have I hit a wall? And there are moments when you're you hate the game because your memories are so negative and your feelings are so negative. But usually stopping for a month, not looking at any chess for a while, going on a holiday, for instance, something like that. Always you found that your mind wiped the slate clean and you could come back and
start
restart
afresh.
So there were often moments when the thought crossed my mind, but never seriously thought of acting on it.
Okay, great. You've played countless matches, Vishy. If I were to ask you to close your eyes and relive that one game which you think defined Vishy Anand, which one would it be?
There is no real such game. Your best moments are so scattered, and even your worst moments are quite scattered through your career. But I think either my victory in the World Championship in Delhi, Tehran, or the second one in Mexico, and then my first match in Bonn. Yeah. One of these three, I think, would be a kind of highlight.
Super. Your wife has been a constant part of your journey, and you've often credited her for your success. What is that one thing that she's taught you that chess couldn't?
Probably she has helped me become slightly less self-absorbed as a chess player. With her, I'm more alert to cues around and things like that. Also, it's the way she started traveling with me everywhere, even though when we got married, she didn't know the first thing about chess. She was traveling with me to all tournaments, and eventually we realized that it'd be good to separate the functions like a team. So literally she managed everything except the chess and left that to me and so on. But I think for me, what stands out in her is just this ability to put aside something that is not pleasant and get the job done. She's very, very good at this. And it's quite impressive because no matter how bad things are, she's at the same time retains this practical ability where she just thinks, obviously this is terrible, but these things need to be done. I need to do this. And, somebody's got to keep their head on while everybody else is losing theirs.
You become
That's
very
very, very.
objective.
Yes, that's a remarkable quality in her, and I think it. If hopefully I managed to borrow a few elements of that, it might have helped me with my chess as well.
Another very interesting anecdote that my team pulled out was, you were playing a game and your wife was in the hotel and she asked the reception to put a D&D and not call. So just take us through that anecdote.
So we had this thing of telling hotels not to let all the calls in because otherwise everybody has access to you. I mean, so she told them, just block all calls. And then once I went to the gym and realized I'd forgotten my key. So I went to the reception and said, can you just call my room? And they said, sorry, sir, we have a policy of we cannot call the room. I said, but I'm staying in the room. And she said, well, can you prove it? And I said, well, no, I left my key in the room. That's why this whole issue is starting. She said, sorry, I cannot put you through. So I said, okay, then you please call her and ask her if it's okay if, and I gave my name. Thing, at least that you can do. So anyway, she agreed. Then my wife said, no, he's my husband.
Super. Before a big match, is there any mental preparation process that you have? Any specific rituals or routines that you follow? Any visualization techniques or mental rehearsals that you...
Yes, you kind of think, who's my opponent? What do I expect to happen today? What will I be facing in 10 minutes? Let's say the game is going to start in 5 or 10 minutes after the game has started. What am I going to be sitting there doing? What am I going to be looking at? And what are the things that I normally do that correlate well with good games, good results? How do I get into that zone? How do I feel a bit calmer? These kinds of things. And you try to... And generally, experience will help you orient yourself quite well.
Have you ever used meditation as a technique? Do you think that is an effective tool for people to stay calm? What has been your experience about it?
I have not done meditation. I've often done deep breathing where I'll just sit for a while and try to breathe. And even during a game, I find that quite often if things are quite tense, you try to slow your breathing for a while. Try to come to terms with the fact that something unpleasant has happened, but you can't make it worse by feeling bad about it. You try to come to terms with it and then move on. And if you need a few minutes to stabilize, then you take those few minutes, you breathe, you think of past times when something like this has happened, or maybe you get up and go and make yourself a tea. You do something to break that nervous atmosphere you're in and then try to calm down.
Superb. Do chess players have superstitions, Vishy? Like wearing a lucky shirt or sitting on the same chair? And do you have, or did you have any such superstitions?
Yes, more than you can count. And I mean, it starts from the time you wake up to what time you have breakfast, what you ate for breakfast. This was lucky, that was lucky, that day I lost, all that stuff. Lucky shirts, lucky pens. I've done most of it. And even though by now I can't remember a single strategy which has worked always, you lapse into it once in a while.
Yeah. Super. Okay, so now let's do a rapid fire with you, right? So let's put the lightning kit to work and let's see. So you need to answer these questions quickly. Okay. One chess legend, living or past, that you would like to play against?
Morphy.
Which check piece best represents your personality?
People say the knight.
Your favorite sport other than chess?
I follow a lot of football.
Your favorite movie?
Terminator.
Your favorite OTT series?
I like Narcos.
Your favorite meal after a victory?
Any one of the cuisines I like.
A song that you've been listening on the loop these days?
These days I find I often get back to some ABBA once in a while.
Oh, nice. One thing that you do for fun that people would not expect a chess grandmaster to do?
I think it's impossible for a chess player to do what people expect them to do.
That's a nice one.
We have to do a lot more because they put us into such a small box. Anyway, go on.
Super. Okay, now we come to another segment, which is Checkmate the Myths. So these are questions from our audience, young audience. They have some myths and they want you to clarify that. Ankita from Delhi asks, do chess players have a photographic memory?
Excellent question. Yes and no. Our memory is often photographic, but it's contextual. You can't show me any position and I will retain all the elements. But if you show me a position that I can make a story out of, then I can reconstruct the position effortlessly. So it's not photographic. It's more a story. You see, this was played by this person. Now I remember.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Super. Also, there's this very interesting anecdote that I came across where there was a power outage, in middle of a game, and you used your, memory and you just navigated through that game. Do you remember that?
Yes, it was in Sofia in 2010, and I understood that in a sense you can get up, but I understood I could just sit at the chair, or I think the arbiter suggested we move somewhere else. I don't remember whether I did or how long it lasted, but I remember that I could simply keep thinking of the position, so I did.
Oh, interesting. Varun from Pune asks, is it true that you anticipate your opponent's move 10 steps ahead?
That's the plan. When it happens, it's very good.
Okay. Kirti from Hyderabad says, how do chess players stay focused and avoid getting bored while staring at the same chessboard for hours and hours?
Very easy. We don't stare at the same chessboard for hours and hours. Our mind wanders. You think about food, you think about girls, you think about, or in their case, boys, or you think about movies, you think about a joke your friend said. Imagine yourself studying for an exam. That's what chess players are going through.
But then you guys are then good actors because these emotions never show on your face.
Yes, that's good. But I think there are telltale signs when a chess player's mind has wandered elsewhere.
Now, talking about wandering, Sneha from Chandigarh asks that do chess players experience a brain fade where they completely lost focus and forget their next move? Does that happen?
Yes, very often.
Yeah.
In fact, losing the thread or making a move which you were considering, but you had rejected, but then you suddenly make it in the end. All these kinds of things happen very often.
Okay. Ajay, Raga from Bhopal has a very interesting question. Do you feel a bit sorry for the pawns, or do you think they are just cannon fodder in your grand strategy? Do you feel bad for the pawns?
I don't connect to my pieces individually.
Okay.
I don't think of them as having personalities or anything like that at all. They are all there, and if what's remaining at the end, I win. That's it. So, no, I don't relate to that at all.
Okay, great. We move to our next segment. This is called This or That. So we all know your love for cuisine, various kinds of cuisine. So we have Indian cuisine here, different dishes, and you need to choose between them, right? So here we go. Rajma chawal or aloo ke parathe?
That's a tough one, but parathas are.
Okay, aloo ke parathe or masala dosa?
Funnily enough, masala dosa is my least favorite dosa, so I'll still go with that.
Aloo ka paratha. Okay.
I like many other kinds of dosa, but not that one.
Okay. Aloo ka paratha or chole bhature?
Chole bhature.
Chole bhature or idli?
Depends on mood.
Okay. Chole bhature or vada pav?
Vada pav.
Vada pav or curd rice?
Curd rice.
Curd rice or sambar rice?
Curd rice.
Curd rice or rasam rice with potato poriyal?
I'll put some curd on it.
Super. Fantastic. Okay, next question is from Aditya from Chennai. He is a big fan of yours and Samay Rehna. And he says your collaboration with Samay is super dope. A typical Gen Z guy. He loves the banter that you had. And he wants to know what are your views on Samay Rehna and what is the role young YouTubers like him play in popularizing chess and making it cool.
I think fundamentally what they do is expand the ability of chess to reach different audiences. And I think the genius of Samay is his ability to keep the audience engaged while still discussing chess. This is a problem many intellectual fields face. In maths, they always say every equation you put into a book halves your buyers or something like that.
Yeah.
And they have these jokes. But basically, the thing is, how do you convey a concept? How do you explain what's happening without intimidating them? And I think the genius of people like Samay is that, he's the one who started it in India, bringing comedy in. He was able to bring an audience that went there looking for comedy, connect them to chess, and use that as part of the background, as a foil. I think it's important to engage with them because they are helping you communicate things better. Like always, you should engage with people who have different ways of doing things because you will learn something.
Fantastic. What is your view on artificial intelligence and its increased role in the game? Do you see AI influencing the future of chess? Is it good for chess?
So one thing we can say is that chess computers were stronger than humans for a couple of decades before artificial intelligence got restarted. So I don't know, it restarted like 2012 when they let itself learn and so on. But even before that, computers were much stronger than us. But AI brought a new twist, the new way we think, and a lot of these conclusions are baked into how we play chess these days. And I imagine that is going to continue to dominate because a lot of the best suggestions are coming from, now AI machines.
So you are the goat of Indian chess, world chess, and yet you stay away from being a purist. You experiment with technology. You're always open for new things. So how do you maintain this mindset of always being open and doing new things?
I think you have to force yourself to try different things. Keep a slightly open mind. I think allow for the possibility that you're not right always and that there might be new ways of doing things. It's also fun to collaborate with different people and try things out. But I also like my purist moments. So it's not obsessive. It's not obsessive. I don't feel like things have to be like this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But there are times when I shut out everything and I want to go back and me and the chessboard be alone and think and try to understand certain things. And I like that side too, but I can switch on and off.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. You've had the opportunity to meet Prime Minister Modi over the years. How has your experience been of meeting Mr. Modi? Did he surprise you with his understanding of chess? And is it something unique that he said that stayed with you?
I remember the first time we met, it was roughly 2009 or 10. I met him as Chief Minister of Gujarat. And we went there to pitch a project, which was to have a Guinness Book record of games played at a single location.
Uh-huh.
So the idea was that it would be a simultaneous display, a strong titled player playing against new chess players, and they could handle 20 at a time. So they would play 20 games at a time, and then this multiplies out. And then what impressed me the most was we were given a time, let's say 11 o'clock, to meet at the office, the CM's office. We all had to be there 15 minutes earlier. Everything was done. The bureaucrats, the staff, they would come, brief us, give us all the stuff needed by 55. At 11, he would walk straight in, get to the point. He had been well briefed. He knew his stuff. And it was like that. And then the follow-up was immaculate. So we knew that we could do this because it was quite ambitious. We needed to get to more than 20,000 people playing at a location.
Oh, wow.
So the Gujarat government then supported us with buses to help people all across the state, Ahmedabad, all across the state coming in. And the organization was very good because it's easy for something to go wrong, but it went off like clockwork. And it's a fantastic event. Also, he's quite receptive to information. So we told him there had been studies that showed that chess, youngsters who played chess did better at school because of the training that it gives you. So we're not talking of producing chess champions. We're talking of producing better students, and chess being a tool for that. So because then I was working with NIIT a lot, and they were connected through education, and then they were implementing it in many of their schools, and we pitched in Gujarat, and once again Gujarat signed up for a thing. So in that sense, he was always, like I said, well briefed. He knew his subject matter, and I imagine there were 100 other subjects he discussed on that day, but it gave that vibe. And he supports a lot of the best chess events. He recently received the Indian team, which won for the Olympiads, the Indian teams.
Yes.
I have no doubt he will meet Gukesh at some point, and so on. So he's a consistent supporter of many sports. He kind of knows what happened, able to hold a conversation with, after all, diverse athletes. And that always impressed me very much.
Another interesting thing which I came across was the journey of Vantika Agrawal. Again, a chess tournament organized in Gujarat. This was called the Mahila Chess Mahotsav when he was the chief minister in Gujarat. And today she attended that, and as a 9-year-old kid, she got inspired by that. And of course, today she's a world, grandmaster, and she an international master for India. And I think she's recently won an chess Olympiad in Budapest. So how do you see Indian women performing in the world of chess, and what is the role such initiatives play in molding chess players?
Look, every point of connect with a potential chess player is going to make a difference. Every potential point of contact with a female chess player, a young girl who maybe will come into contact with the game, learn the game, is going to benefit. But in Vantika's case, I was very happy because she was also, as I mentioned, NIIT had this program called the Mind Champions Academy, which we were running in many states, including Gujarat. And she was there at one of the functions. So she had been a student in one of the schools where we offer the program. But these things are vital. If you encourage girls to take up sports, but it's not a question of just giving them access to sporting facilities. You have to praise them afterwards. You have to have functions, motivate them, because you're overcoming every bit of resistance. Family, society, culture, everything. By constantly praising them and giving them that validation, you're helping the message to spread. So it's very, very important. I'm glad that Vantika has gone on to do so well, and that will reflect well on the idea of continuing to expand. Because unfortunately, in chess, like in every other sport, boys out participate girls. So we need more girls participating in sports, and I hope very much in chess.
Super. Talking about the chess culture, one anecdote was very interesting, and I thought I'll share it with you when I meet you. In 2001, Modi ji had visited Baku, Azerbaijan, and it was the home to 8 chess grandmasters, including Kasparov. And he was inspired by the fact that how chess was deeply integrated into the local culture, and realized that children in Baku were way more intelligent due to the exposure to chess. And in 2009, when he became the chief minister, he made chess mandatory subject in district schools. So your thoughts on this?
Yes, one of the points we presented also was connected to chess in schools. And I'm then sure some part of his brain remembered, wait a minute, in Baku, they made that connection. And so but in a sense, it was nice to engage with the supportive government, and then, which went on to implement the project. But yes, I think these are very healthy initiatives. We have a desperate need for Indian youngsters, not only city, urban, but also rural, to have sports facilities, have the time to play them often, and have the societal support and encouragement to play it often, because that needs to become. So we have come a long way, but we have just way more to go.
And this point about chess actually helping you in your life journey, can you just give some practical examples of how they've helped you, or you've seen that helping people in navigate their lives?
Obviously, we'll start at the top. The biggest difference it makes is it forces you to think before making a decision. And then it doesn't allow you to take back your decision. It's irreversible. That's a very good habit, which I've often seen that very often before whatever I do, I like to think of the implications. Now, my thinking in chess is, of course, better than my thinking in everything else because I've studied it more. And the more you study, the better your decisions will be. We can't pretend that this works everywhere, but the habit of forcing yourself to consider your options, forcing yourself to remember that your opponent will also make the best moves. Your opponent is not going to make the move we want them to play. They're going to make the move they think is best. And if you incorporate that into your thinking, it's a healthy brain training to approach decision. It also teaches you how to deal with a lot of amount of information, things like that. These are things that carry over, but it's a very chess player's thing to first make sure you collect the information in some way that makes sense, and then you try to understand it. And also always thinking, what would others do in my place?
Super. Fantastic. I was reading Prime Minister Modi's quote, chess is a game that can elevate 100 pains of life. Does that resonate with you?
When you win, yes. I think when you lose, it can cause 100 pains as well. But yes.
Is it therapy for you?
It can be. I mean, chess is amazing therapy for many people. I think especially people who want to engage in some great intellectual activity, but also something that's so absorbing that the cares of life drop away for a while. Because you're so focused on what's the best move. I got to calculate this. I got to figure this out. I've got to understand what's going on. That's, our brain is very excited by that kind of challenge. And there are multiple cases where this is true, including for myself, that you can give me some difficult puzzle and I'm lost the whole day thinking about it. So yes, totally, it can be an escape from life.
Super. Atharva is 22, is very inspired by that viral video of Gukesh and Pragnananda standing up for you out of respect. So he's asking, does respect as a trait help one become more successful? Is it like a secret sauce for success?
It's a very healthy habit. I'm wary about universalizing some statement like that, but definitely I thought Gukesh and Prag are both very well brought up. And because this thing of getting up felders and all this, it's a nice thing. It's probably important to remember that you must have respect for your opponents, respect for other people. And I don't mean respect as in making a show out of it necessarily. I mean, you should assume that other people have something intelligent to say because it's a healthy attitude to have. It allows you to see your own mistakes faster.
Absolutely. You don't get into overconfidence. And the next question is from Abhilasha. She says that Gukesh seems to be very confident of his abilities. That's very inspiring. But I'm always thinking that, how does one manage to keep this balance between confidence and overconfidence?
Ironically, if you lack confidence, you'll play much worse because you'll question your own decisions. And if you're overconfident, you will miss your opponent's responses. So it's always important to find a balance. As in, I've done my work. This is what my work leads me to believe. So I will follow through. I have the confidence to do that. At the same time, I'm going to assume that today is going to be difficult. I'm going to face a difficult challenge and approach it like that. It's a very good question because finding this balance is 90% of it.
Super. So you have achieved practically everything in the game of chess. Do you ever think of your purpose beyond chess? How does that align with your beliefs?
I don't separate the two out. I was very happy to achieve all that I have in chess, but I still enjoy the game and I like to play. But obviously, I have learned many lessons, many through chess. And if you can try and be a better person, then why not?
Great. Vishy, is the perspective of the Western world or the world outside India changing towards India as a chess-playing nation? Do you see a shift there? And also, do you see a shift in the way people are perceiving our country in general? Do you see a positive outlook emerging? Whenever you've traveled, you've met people. What's your view on this?
Yes. Whether it's, I think the views of people on India has changed. Now, I'm not talking good versus bad. I'm talking simply the amount of time we have in this thoughts. How often do they think about India and so on? In a sense, they're more aware of that we exist, that we're out there, and they have many more opinions about us. Multiple fields. So they think, oh, good in this, bad in this, good in this, bad in this. It's always a mix. But
We are definitely being noticed now.
yes, we are definitely being noticed now, and in chess, it's probably very positive, in almost intimidating, because they think, how many youngsters you have, kind of thing. So there's that there.
Superb. And do you personally feel very confident of the kind of bench strength that we have in chess?
We have amazing players, many of them very young, which also suggests that they're going to be around for a while. But always we should remember what I said earlier about respecting your opponent and avoiding overconfidence. It's important to be proud of where we have reached, but not overconfident.
2 more countries other than India which have a fantastic chess culture.
When I was actually for most of my career, the way chess was seen culturally, just your attitude to someone who plays chess for a living, your attitude to someone who knows something about chess. Do you associate that with intelligence and something cool, or do you think it's like train spotting or something? That attitude I always thought was most healthy in the former Soviet Union. So because of their great contribution to chess, it was seen as high culture, and people were encouraged to participate in high culture. Nowadays, it's changed. Like India now is participating more actively in chess. Now, I don't say that necessarily it's the same cultural loop, but it's nice when people, youngsters, everyone think, oh, you're playing chess. That's nice. Tell me something more. That curiosity, if it's there, it's great.
Okay, we started our interview talking about Gukesh. Let's wrap up things with Gukesh. Now that he's made history and he's the youngest world chess champion, is there anything that you never said to Gukesh in person that you'd like to say on this platform?
Simply be happy. What else? What do you tell someone who's become world champion at 18?
Superb. It's been an absolutely engaging conversation. I thoroughly, completely enjoyed this conversation. Thank you so much, Vishy.
Thank you.
You're a rock star. Thank you.
Thank you.
तो चलिए सम अप करते हैं। क्रिकेट में दुनिया में छाए हैं, चेस में नंबर 1 भी आए हैं, कॉमनवेल्थ, एशियाड, ओलंपिक्स में मेडल भी बढ़ाए, ओलंपिक्स होस्ट करने का इरादा भी दिखाया है। क्यों? क्योंकि सरकार ने नई पॉलिसीज को बनाया है, बजट एलोकेशन भी बढ़ाया है, और जब फेलियर्स आन खड़ी हुई तो गले भी लगाए। मैं तेरे साथ खड़ा हूं कहकर हौसला भी बढ़ाया है। इसीलिए नया भारत हर जगह छा रहा है और आगे जा रहा है। तो चलिए जीडीपी का ये एपिसोड यहीं खत्म करते हैं। मैं शरद और हमारी जीडीपी की टीम जा रही है, लेकिन भारत का टाइम आ रहा है। जय हिंद।